Well, let's do discussions for the morning. I have as my guest Mr. Aquinas Kwanzaa, Honorable, that is, depending on how you want to look at him. He's a Member of Parliament also for Infantsman. Thanks for joining us. He's the Deputy Minister of Fisheries. Okay, how are you? You're dressed in all black. What's happening?
Oh, I mean, it's the time and the season. You know, Christ died today for the atonement of our sins. So we're all mourning the death of Christ.
That's why you're in black?
Yes.
You're going to church?
Yeah, from here I go straight to church.
Okay. Wait, are you a Catholic?
Harvest Chapel.
Okay, Harvest Chapel. Okay, that's headed by... Harvest Chapel is headed
Steve Gerald Odonko.
Okay. And, you know, this very time, because Christ sacrificed a lot, what would you say about leadership of countries and how we need to have leaders sacrifice for their people? For example, you're a Member of Parliament. How do you think that people who are in leadership positions need to sacrifice for their people, the people they lead?
Thank you very much. I think there's a thin line between sacrifice and doing your duty, you know, because doing your duty doesn't, take much from you. But for you to sacrifice, you have to give out something that is really, really, really dear to you, you know, because in the biblical days, when Isaac was going to be sacrificed, I mean, that was the only son of his father. Giving the son out it was so painful, but he decided to do it. That's what I call sacrifice. God gave out his only son for us, his only son. I mean, that is what I call sacrifice. So if you try to put smiles on people's faces rather than yours, I call it sacrifice. That is what leadership should always be. You understand me? Like I'm here, I know I should have been there, but I chose to be here because of sacrifice. I hope you understand me.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, so sacrifice is giving out something, you know, that is dear to you. You understand me? I love my family so much, but I have to leave my family. They are almost out for church, so I sacrificed to be here.
Just part of the responsibilities you owe to society.
Yeah.
How well do you think that as leaders, whether you're holding public office or political office as we call it, or even, let's say you're an assembly member somewhere, how well do you think we're doing currently?
Currently, I think the word sacrifice is in a way maybe diminishing from our dictionary. You know, seriously, I mean, people always think about themselves first and others later. You understand me? So if leadership will start thinking about the people first and me later, I think that's where we will say, I would say we are rediscovering the meaning of sacrifice.
What about the fact that, well, this is what you think should be, and so what society thinks, what you just talked about, the people first and not me first.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. Is it that, well, a lot more people pay rhetoric to it, they just say it and don't walk the talk?
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, our society is now drifting to that point, like me first, others come later. And I believe it's about time. You know, it wouldn't take one person, all of us coming together and change our psyche. I mean, about, you know, like what we do, you know, to make people smile should be the paramount thing. You know, you put smiles on people's faces. You understand me? You can, you know, what we usually term outside gentility, home cry. You give out the sacrifice, you make somebody smile and you go home and cry. That is what we call sacrifice. You cry, but you don't over cry, because you cry and you thank God for using you as a vessel to help somebody. You understand me? And if you do that wholeheartedly, believe you me, the blessings that will follow will be more than what you've given out.
We'll have to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be admitting into the discussions Fred Amankwa. Fred Amankwa is a member of the MPP, and he will also be making his comment about what sacrifices that leaders, it doesn't matter what type of leader you are, you're a public office holder, political leader, wherever you are, church leader, what sacrifices that need to be made? And we're taking a short break. When we come back, we'll have him seated. Well, so we have Fred Amankwa joining us, and he contested for the vice chairmanship position of the MPP in the recent conference that was convened in Tamale. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, my brother.
You look good. You're also going to church, as I hear?
Yes, I am.
Sure.
Great.
Right. We're just discussing what sacrifice thereof that also need to be made, not only by political leaders, so to speak, by all facets of society as far as leadership is concerned. Where do you think the responsibility lies?
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and good morning to our viewers. I think that sacrifice, we all sacrifice one way or the other on a daily basis. And for political leadership, it's even more so. If you're going to sacrifice, then you're not expecting any reward for that, for what you're doing. And I heard my brother say, you have to go and cry. If you're really sacrificing, then you're not going to cry, because you have in your mindset what you're doing for society. Somebody else must benefit whilst you give out what your benefit is. Okay, so at each point in time, you're looking at the benefit of the society or the group in which you find yourself, rather than your personal, if you like, aggrandizement. You have to just...
Is that what happens currently in the present day in our society?
I think we all sacrifice one way or the other. You don't have it going many times. You sacrifice for your children, you sacrifice for your colleagues, you share your ideas, you share your finances, you share your knowledge. At each point in time, you're doing something for society. So yes, you still have people being selfish and maybe self-interest overriding sacrifice. But I think that society, in so long as we are together, in so long as we've not torn ourselves apart, we are all contributing to the larger good of the society. So the bottom line, if it is sacrifice, then it means that you're looking not at yourself, you're looking at the society's benefits of your whatever you're contributing to help society.
Now, Mr. Kwanzaa, particularly when these days, well, we have the media as one of the structures of dispensation. They open or give access to a lot more people to do all the talk and vent their frustrations, the good thoughts they have about perhaps governance and a lot more. Then you say that a lot more responsibility also lies on that very medium or the platform to make sure that they get good out of the leaders. In terms of the media, they make sure they get the best out of the leaders.
I would like to say that is the intention of the media, but sometimes it's the opposite.
What happens? What's your own observation?
My observation is, sometimes I can use myself as an example. You know, you have an interview with a media person. You understand me? And you tell the person that this is off record. Then you say something, and that was the voice. That will be the voice you hear the following day.
So you're ambushed.
No, I told you. Oh, yeah. Roland, you know what?
This one is off record.
We've done whatever, but you know this.
But that's unethical.
Yes, but tomorrow morning I'll wake up in the morning and there is a voice. How do you call it? The
insert.
No, you have a term for like the voice that they play all the time. It's soundbite. That will be the soundbite for the day. And you sit down and say, what is happening? You understand me? It's always good for journalists to get a good out of people. That's what you should be doing. You know, but I don't think you people are succeeding in doing that. When even you...
But that's unethical, though.
Unethical, yeah. You interview somebody and the person will talk for like 25 minutes. The negative is what is, is published out there. But if you read the whole story, you realize that, look, there were a lot of positivities in whatever the person said. But the highlighted one will be the negatives. And I don't think it's good for our community, or our body politicking. Because at the end of the day, look, I might have my own mind. Like I was saying, sometimes you go and sacrifice. After the sacrifice, like let's say you have your last 10 Ghana cedis in your pocket. You see somebody who really needs the 10 Ghana cedis. You give the person, you go home, not go and cry But now you two, you don't have money to depend on.
But because you feel you're a leader.
You feel you've sacrificed that thing. You know, you go home, you know, and you feel good helping somebody, but in your own closet you can't take care of yourself. That is what I'm talking about. I mean, let's say, like you said, a journalist. If you also do that work with that kind of sacrifice, I don't want to make the news because I want to make the news. I want to let people hear or listen to what they want to listen to.
So they have decided to go soft. I don't want to be going hard. Because I wanted to ask you whether you think journalists don't sacrifice hard enough, right? Because
no. It's a you sacrifice, because sometimes the kind of terrain you go through to get information, that is sacrifice. You understand me? You can drive all the way to a town that eagles there to land. You go there just to fish information. That is the sacrifice I'm talking about. You have your wife and kids waiting for you at home, but in the night you're searching for news. You'll be driving through some terrains that under normal circumstances you wouldn't have done. But because you want to inform people, so you sacrifice your time, you sacrifice your family for your job.
It means that, well, in this day and age, taking political leadership comes with a lot more baggage, from what he's saying. But is it all part of the sacrifice?
Yes, it is. But you see, for me, and if I may respectfully disagree with my brother, you must be decorous as a leader. You must be respectful and be circumspect in whatever you say. So you don't blame the media if you decide to. Of course, it's unethical if you say this is off record. But for me, if you're talking to a media person, you should know that he's fishing for information, and the media thrives on the issue of controversy. So if you speaking and you're not making controversial statements, sometimes they don't really go with you, because I mean it's normal. And so we must all, as political leaders, or those of us aspiring to be political leaders, we must at all times, and this is my bite, we must be respectful, decorous, and circumspect in what, because the society is looking up to us. Gradually we are moving into a situation where it will be very anarchy for the populace, because we must know what we are saying. And sacrifice, if it is sacrifice, I still want to maintain, if it is sacrifice, then you know your benefit is more of emotional, or maybe if you like spiritual, than physical. So if you're sacrificing, don't go home and cry if you're really sacrificing. Otherwise, then you have other things. There's an ultimate sacrifice that Jesus Christ made. And even in spite of the fact that he knew the outcome of what he was going to go through, he accepted to carry it on and said, may the will of God be done. All right? So yes, let's do all we can to help. We can do it. Let's do all we can to help, and then we don't go home to cry. Let's accept the responsibility and get the benefit of it ourselves, maybe emotionally, that we've done something to help society. But we should not pass the buck. We should not blame the media for anything. If you don't, unless of course your voice has been tempered with. But otherwise, as leaders, as political leaders, we must at all times show respect to the media, respect to the people we are governing, respect and decorous in our statement, and more so to be circumspect. If you're being circumspect, it means that what you're saying today, you have calculated.
You're talking well because you haven't been embroiled in any controversy.
Because
so
I would not.
It's very much in a very good balance for you to be talking in this very tone.
If you have followed my interaction, it's always been like that. I've always maintained that even in our disagreements, we cannot take away circumspection, because whatever we say today will come back to us tomorrow. So we must be very circumspect in what we say, especially to the media. If you are speaking with your wife in your bedroom, yes, then you can vent all what you want. But then, even then, to your children and to your wife, and also more so to the society, you must be circumspect, because whatever. So
circumspection is key.
It's very key.
Okay. Now on the subject of circumspection and how that also dovetails into political leadership and sacrifice, is a subject of what the population thinks about political leaders, whether they feel the sacrifice enough. Now, particularly since you are grassroots people, you interact with people on the ground, what are the observations you make?
I believe the populace don't think politicians really sacrifice. You know, because
they don't think you sacrifice.
They don't think politicians. I mean politicians. You know, okay. Which definitely I'm part. They don't think we sacrifice because you know this is somebody you know who was teaching in some GHS in your community. You understand me? And by chance of him being elected as a member of parliament, the next time he's coming to the town, he's driving a V8. You understand me? Though it's part of the work, that vehicle was given to him to do his work. But the moment you go to the town, people think, look, you have to have you know. Yes, you see, because at the end of the day, you know, our constituents, you understand me? It depends on the way you like my brother said, the respect you have for them, the way you interact with them. You understand me? You let them know when you don't have it. You know, you don't have to keep up appearance. Like I want them to see that I'm the MP, so I'm up there and they are down there. At the end of the day, if you do that, the demands too will be up there, because you let your people know. Whenever you don't have money, they feel it you don't have money. When you have it and you go and there are programs and things, the way you get yourself involved, your demeanor and everything, you should let your people be able to.
So all these have led to many of the current opinions that a lot more of the populace form about political leaders. Okay. Now, Fred, if it comes to the subject of whether you're sacrificing or not as politicians, or even if, let's say, the various stakeholders, the media, etc., are sacrificing enough, if each day there's news about perceived corruption, there's news about a minister having, built this number of houses, or a government goes off power and you hear all kinds of allegations, and these are perceived to be true by the population, then you could have these conclusions also being drawn about politicians.
Yes, and Roland, politicians are not seen as being sacrificed, as sacrificing at all. In this country, I can bet that no electorate would think that politicians are sacrificing. Because as soon as you become a member of parliament or maybe a minister of state, you are given this and that. I mean, you have a lot of facilities at your disposal. So you're pushing not so much because you want to do so much for the populace, but because of your own personal development. So yes, they would not see us, and of course, the issue about corruption, whether perceived or otherwise, that we threw against ourselves. We might think that we're doing ourselves or maybe scoring some political mileage, but at the end of it all, we are creating in the minds of the entire population a group of people who cannot be trusted. So even when you go out there and preach all you can, you are seen with suspicion, and so they will also demand their pound of flesh from you. As I go around the country, yes, you get a vibe that, look, people don't really think that you are sacrificing, and they can't be right, especially when NPP and DC keep throwing things at each other, when people in government do not even have the facts to support, or people in opposition do not have the facts to support. We create the situation where in the minds of the people, look, what is in there? Why are these people throwing tantrums against each other? And you see, throwing mud at somebody, the first person who picks the mud is yourself. So you pick the mud to throw, and you will be the first one to touch it. So if there's any mud on anybody, you will be the
on you first.
Okay, so the population will not see it as that it's somebody else you're talking about, but that both of you have something to answer. We must change the way we do our politics in order to gain the trust of the people of this country.
In order to gain the trust of the people, do you say beyond just changing the way politics is undertaken in Ghana, perhaps also we need to be a lot more sincere to the people? For example, I have interacted in my years of being a media person with politicians. What they tell you in the closet is not what they go out to tell the people. But then also there's a discussion about, well, what we need to tell the people, and then what we don't need to tell the people, because the argument is that is how politics is done.
I believe we as young politicians, we have to change that trend.
Can you?
You know, we can. You know, it's all you know, it's all comes with education. Let me tell you one thing. A member of parliament, you seeking for I mean, like, you going into an election, a political office.
You want to be a member of parliament,
yes,
for a particular area.
You just go and stand there and be telling them all sort of things. If I come, I'll construct the road from
But
Z.
that's what you do.
That's what I'm saying. Construct the road from Y to Z, or build clinic in this town, do this, do that. At the end of the day, the people believed you. You know, because they've heard it several times. They believed you. So what did they do? They voted for you, and now you come back and tell them that an MP's no, not even common fund. The MPs
not spending officers.
Yes, they are not spending officers. The MPs, all they can do is to go and legislate, and that's how we were voted to do, because we are just to legislate, you know. So what we do is like, we put ourselves in those situations. So at the end of the day, when it's time to go back there and tell the people to vote for you again, becomes a problem, because you told him you were going to fix his road, and the road is not being fixed. You were going to build a school for him, and the school is not in there still. So how do you go back there? So you see, with time, people will see us as liars, because you come and say what you want to say, they vote for you. You don't do it. The next time they kick you out, they bring somebody else. The person comes with the same. So it's about time we let the people know what they are voting for us to go and do. But people are scared. If you go and you don't tell them things, they will vote for you.
Because I was just about to ask Fred, sincerely, whether it's NPP or NDC or CPP or PPP, I always say the parties that have not tasted office, they talk good because they haven't been in office. When you're in office, the way the posture is different. Your fiscal monitoring and management puts you in a certain position, certain promises you made, realistically you can fulfill. The point is, if you go out there and you tell people, I can't provide you a shoe, I can only provide you a lace, the next time I provide you with the leather, and then I can make a shoe for you. Because you feel you won't be voted into power. I mean, you're a human being. You won't tell them what is right. Thereby, also, you forfeit political office.
Yeah, that dovetails into your statement: honesty and sincerity. We seem to be giving too much of what. This is a developing country. Too much of what is not there. We make so much promises that it's not realistic. All right. So if you are taking a decision, the decision must be smart. It must be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, with a time bound.
That's textbook.
Mm-hmm. It is textbook. The textbook is what comes out. We cannot do anything outside the textbook. We cannot do anything out of what we have learned. So if you're not making a statement that is smart, and we're just speaking in vacuum, without any time limit, without being realistic, because most of us who speak to the electorates would give out statements, especially maybe in our manifestos, or the promises we keep making are not specific. They cannot be realistic. Right. Looking at our...
But many of them are time-bound.
We don't make it time-bound.
No, but they are time-bound in the manifesto. But they are not achieved.
Are they not attainable? Yes. Are they achievable? Are they realistic? Is that something...
Then they are not realistic.
Is that something, looking at our economic environment, is it something we can do? So you see, you raise the status, or you raise the perception of the electorate so high that now you're not able to, and it cuts across. The NPP does it, the NDC will do it. Over time, now people are not looking at what the politicians say again. They will be looking at some other strenuous interest that would not really augur well for all of us. So I think it's about time that we sincerely have an introspection as a nation. The way we are doing our politics, is this something we can continue? Can we put in manifesto statements in our manifesto that over time is not achievable, and come back to the people of Ghana and continue to promise them that we cannot achieve?
Mr. Kwanzaa, I have 4 minutes, so let's try and wrap up. The issue I know has come up about the question I'm about to ask you. The issue of winner takes all that the parties tend to, or the Constitution has stipulated, really. So when a party wins, everybody is marginalized. That is, everybody outside the bounds of the political party in power. So no matter your expertise, even if you have a master's degree in finance or whatever, you can't use it to work anywhere. Perhaps unless you're a university professor, etc. Because that's the precedent we've seen. Your expertise are not used anywhere. How do we make sure perhaps we break the cycle then? Then people can be sincere and know that even if I'm in opposition, I can still be very useful to my country.
I don't think it's entirely true, because we have opposition people or opposition members in parliament whose interventions in committee meetings have really changed.
By virtue of the fact that they are in parliament.
Yeah, they are in parliament.
For those who are not in parliament.
No, there are people voted
for
for
example,
them to represent them.
Currently, I've had friends I interacted with who were members of the NPP. They occupied they occupy public offices. When the government comes, they are off, and they've been off. And you see them, you see they are not doing too well, and you keep wondering, these are very good people. They are your friends, but they have.
No, you see. I think all boils down to trust. We should at least, I mean, try to trust people. We don't trust anybody, because the person who belongs to, let's say, my brother here, he's, let's say, the
NPP.
No, yeah, he's NPP. He occupies a position in this government. I mean, he occupies not a ministerial position, but let's say a substantial position. You know, because he's an NPP guy, he can do anything to make your government look. I'm coming.
It means that our politics is vicious.
No, that is what I'm saying. Until that viciousness is taken out of our politics and the trust builds again, you can easily go and call somebody from the other party
to come and
serve, and you don't think, because you know the person is thinking Ghana, he's not thinking NPP. But here is the case: people will make you look so, excuse my language, stupid, because they've taken some decision and they know the decision will come back to hurt your party. They won't call him because he's just a technocrat sitting somewhere throwing some things at you, and at the end of the day you also take it, run with it, and then at the end of the day it comes out to be negative, you know. So it's all about trust. It's all about we thinking Ghana than thinking our political parties. If we start thinking Ghana and we stop thinking about NDC, we stop thinking about CPP, we stop thinking about MPP, believe you me, no, everybody will be comfortable to work with anybody.
But that's good talk. I like that. Can it happen?
It can.
If we decide yes, it should be. But you see, sometimes when people make genuine concerns, for example, Dr. Baumia made a very good diagnosis of the present economic situation. The following day, look at the reaction. Nobody picked any line and said that, oh, okay, that is what he said, and I think that we would consider it. No, it was bash, bash, bash. So if a person like Dr. Mahmoud...
But it's not because of the politics on both sides. So there's mistrust.
That's the point. So let's move away from the politics of mistrust and see the bigger picture. For me,
how can we do that?
Let's start together. Let's start trusting ourselves and say, look, until Fred has done something so untoward towards me, let me give him the mileage and trust him that he will do it right. Let's start, the two of us. Let's start. We start one at a time. We change one person at a time. And I think together we can make it. If we don't, look, Ghana is for all of us. And no matter which government is in power, we would all have to sacrifice again.
That's an idealist talk.
I'm wondering, if we don't want to be idealistic, then what do we want? Then we cannot survive in this.
Well, the gentleman who just spoke or finished speaking is Fred Amankwa. He contested for the vice chairmanship position of the party.
And that was sacrifice.
Yeah, he was sacrificed, or that was sacrificed.
No, he sacrificed himself for that position.
Oh, he sacrificed.
Yeah.
He lost.
You're being mischievous here.
So Fred Amankwa is a member of the NPP. And Aquinas Kwanzaa, what's your first name? I've forgotten.
My first name is Aquinas. The middle name is Tewia.
Tewia. And Aquinas Tewia Kwanzaa. Yeah. He's a member of parliament from Fantaman. You know, he's been having a battle with Stephen Asamoah Boateng. I'm sure the next time they'll have another battle. Oh, but no. Currently, he's also the Deputy Minister of Fisheries. Thanks for joining us this morning. You said you're going to church?
Yeah.
Which church?
Harvest Chapel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which church will you go?
Great Methodist.
Dansuma. You'll be going
now for
True Talk.
True Talk.
All right. We can trust the politicians for their words. That's it for AM Talk. Next, we have Rima and her team. to give us some good tips for our health.